Well, really happy about last night's game, and really had a blast. It was fun playing football. It was fun watching the guys go at the stadium. Uh, Action Green, everything was rolling. 12s were great. Just really big win, good win. One that we kind of pictured. This was the way we wanted it to go. It was a game that really kind of managed out the way we had hoped it would go, where the defense would really take the lead and hold them down. They did a fantastic job of playing in all phases. I was really excited about the pass rush and the plays that we were making, a bunch of plays in the backfield attacking and all. That really set the tone for it, and that's what we had planned to play off of. We were going to try to, with a very volatile kicking game, we wanted to neutralize that. And John did a good job of keeping the returner from getting the football, and all of that worked out fine. And then Russ had a chance to get back after the week before. He got that done. We didn't run the ball as effectively as we wanted to, but we did run the ball, and we stayed with it and waited for opportunities and got ourselves a championship game. So it was a really nice night.
Tyler Lockett now has 6 touchdowns at 40 yards or longer in his career. Just how valuable a piece is that when you have someone who can just take it the distance?
You know, he ran 4.32 or something at the combine, and that's legit. He's really fast. I think really we can see clearly how he has been able to come back to his speed and play with it later in the year when he was hampered earlier. And so as he has, we've tried to use him more so, and he's just come through. He's a big factor. He's such a good football player. We shouldn't take for granted all the great catches he makes in the kicking game, and always trying to max out the returns. There's a lot of balls that are bouncing all over the place on teams around the league, and he's a great catcher. Nobody could practice it more than he does, and he's just a great all-around asset to our team. And it was a really good showing last night.
Do you have any updates on the health of Michael Bennett and John Ryan?
Yeah, Mike felt good this morning. I saw him. I did not see John. Both reports on the test that they did on both those guys were negative, so that was great. And but I don't have any updates on John.
Are you going to need to go look for a new punter?
Well, we'll see. We're of course we'll just wait it out with John. But if he can't play, we'll have to do something, and we'll figure that out. There's a lot of guys that drop notes in my suggestion box about that they could punt, and guys like Curse and those guys and Russell, they all think they can punt. So if we need it, we'll have some guys. So we'll have a punt, pass, and kick contest this week if we need to.
So just to confirm, John had a concussion, but Bennett just had a neck issue?
Yeah.
You mentioned this morning about having a conversation with Richard. What made you feel like that was necessary or needed?
Well, there was a moment in the game there that he got really worked up and really emotional, and so it was just worth visiting with it. And we had a terrific meeting today. We addressed the issues of being a disruption or being a disturbing moment in the game and all of that, and he didn't want to affect his team that way. He didn't want to do that, and I want to let Richard really speak for himself when he has his chance. So whenever you guys talk to him, but I feel very good about the exchange that we had, and he really wants to do everything he can to help his team.
This has been a couple times for him this year. Are you confident that something like this will not happen again?
No. No, I'm not. I wouldn't say confident. I don't know. I mean, I love this guy, and I love who he is and what he's all about, and the man that he's growing to be and going to become, and all. These are all great lessons and opportunities, and to learn. And he has a lot to offer the world, and he's. I'm proud to say that he's growing, he's learning, and he's getting better, and So this was a good instance for him to check it and figure that out and make the right decisions on how to move forward, and he's going to do that.
You think this is a point where passion just gets the better of the person?
I think that's I don't know what it really is, but that's a good guess for me. He has as much passion and love for this game and playing with his teammates and all that he plays at the edge of that at all times, and so I've just seen enough examples, and not just with Richard, with other guys too over the years, that sometimes it gets the best of you, and not as clear thinking as you like, and in retrospect, you have to take a step back and work back at it. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. but it can cause an issue at times, and that's so we dealt with it.
You talk a lot about embracing individuality and of personalities. How do you know then when someone has crossed that line of where you need to, like you said, pull them back or have a conversation?
How do I know? I don't know. It's pretty obvious. Yeah, I think it's pretty clear for the most part. But that's not to say that there aren't an extraordinary number of times as we work through the course of a season when you can see something in a guy where he's going in the direction that we need to visit about it, and well before it ever gets to a point where it gets visible on the outside. That's what our work is to try to help guys stay balanced and stay on course, and to continue to develop their control of becoming what they're capable of becoming. So that's always happening. But that was that's kind of an overt illustration.
Some coaches would consider that episode insubordination. Do you? And if not, why not?
I think if we weren't able to come back from that, I think so. I think I would, it would depend. It depends on how the meeting went. Meeting went very well, and it was very clear. And I know the guy I'm talking to. I know him as well as you can know a guy, and I know how he feels about it, and I'm fine about what happened. That doesn't mean that it was okay. That doesn't mean that it isn't something that that needed to be addressed. He's the only guy who was in my office this morning, so we went right after it, and I was gonna make my decision on how to move forward based on what happened and how we communicated, and I feel very good about it.
Is there any concern in a situation like that of a rift between the offense and the defense or things
I'm
like
not
that?
worried about it.
Do you think as a coach, it helped, the experience you have as a coach helps you, like the years that you've had to learn yourself of how to deal with those situations?
There's no doubt. Yeah, I think everything weighs into it. I've had my moments with players over the years that I really regret how I responded, and I learned from that. And I can remember them looking at me like, "What are you doing? Why are you saying this to me?" And they're right. I was way off and way wrong. So, we have to learn somehow, and that's one of the ways to learn is from your mistakes and from the errors that you make, and certainly we've had plenty of opportunities to learn a lot of stuff to try to handle whatever.
In your mind, was there an important distinction between the Atlanta incident that involved him in coverage, his coach, and what have you, where as last night it appeared like now he's crossing over, he's involving himself with offensive play calling, things that appear to be
I'll help you. There are two totally different instances. This guy cares as much as you can care. It doesn't mean he does everything right all the time, and it doesn't mean he's bad because he does make mistakes. It means that this is the guy he is right now, and he's learning how to grow and be a good man and all that, and he is that, and he's going to be more so, and he'll be more powerfully in connection with how he's going to handle things as he moves forward. This was a great opportunity for him to understand that, and so I hope we didn't. I know we didn't miss it. We didn't miss this, and so the teachable moment came up, and we seized it, and. I'm really excited about it, and because he's going to be better than ever, and so it's good.
Richard referenced the Super Bowl call. How much does that linger or haunt? Can you use that as like positive motivation?
Yeah, I in our conversation in particular, and I'm not sharing much with you, but we don't feel any different about what happened, and we shared that, and that's never going away. That's just one of those things, and I might have said it this morning. I don't know that's okay. It's where you put it and how you deal with it and how that manifests. And in him, it came blasting back up. And for the most part, for those of us that felt that really deeply, and some did, some didn't, and most everybody felt it to some extent. It's not going away. If you really care, it's not going away. There ain't nothing wrong with that. It's how you deal with it, how you move forward with that, and how you let it affect you. So I've got a lot of those. That's not the only time I've got stuff that I still use and feed off of. And like I try to explain it in some crazy way, it's a good thing. It's helpful. It keeps me on track. It keeps me on edge. I don't want to back off. I'm slowing down. I'm not going to let up and get soft about stuff because I can brush stuff off. That stuff sticks in me as deep as it can go, and but I don't want it to get in the way of the next thing that's coming up. And so that was something that we were talking about today.
Said it doesn't go away. It's never going to go away. Did you find that thought just popping up randomly?
Pretty randomly, yeah, pretty randomly, yeah.
Is the the wisdom in learning how to deal with it when that thought pops up then?
Absolutely, yeah. It's how the choice I see it like this. It's the choice that I make on how I want to demonstrate how I deal with it. And from the instant that I had to talk about that way back when, I don't know how we're on this topic, but the incident with, going right to you guys immediately as that game's over, really first to the team and then to you guys, I knew what was going on. I knew what I was getting into. I knew what had happened, I knew it in a flash. And it's the choice you make on how you want to deal with what you're facing. And I like to think that I'm getting pretty good control of that. I understand where I want to go there.
Did you, you said you met with Richard, did you also address the team in some type of message like, hey, players play, coaches coach, or any message?
You want to come and do that for me? No, I didn't do that. After the game, we had a frickin' blast in the locker room, and the guys are off the next couple of days, so we'll talk about it later on.
You were asked about the fake punt and the timing of it. You said you're either competing or you're not. Or is there ever a circumstance where the score is where it's,
Where you're not competing?
Well, not where you're not competing, but where you might not do something.
Well, you lead me into that. No. You talk. This is a subject that's kind of fun. I've been around this subject before. You got to do what you got to do, and we had a tremendous preparation for an opportunity that we knew could be like a turnover in the game, and if we could get the opportunity, we were going to go for it. It didn't matter when it happened. We were looking for it the whole night, and in the opportunity that we took, it gave us a chance to hold on to the football and not give them even a chance to get the ball back. What more could I do to help my team? So how it gets perceived and all, that's what you guys get to talk about when you want to, and I think it's a waste of energy, but I understand it, and I don't expect that you can see it from our perspective. I thought it was an excellent demonstration of planning and prep and then execution. It worked perfectly, except for the end of it was terrible, but that allowed us to keep the football, and it didn't have anything to do with trying to do something with the score or anything. It was just trying to finish the game as well as we could, in command of it as we were.
Is there any part of you that you're trying to lay on tape for future opponents? Hey, if you're unsound in certain aspects of the game, we're going to call plays to take advantage of your unsoundness? Is that a factor?
I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. I'm going to kind of pass on that one.
You mentioned a couple times with the Thursday game, the benefit being on the back end of it. With how early your guys' bye was, is that even more significant right now?
Yeah, we've been looking forward to this time, that we'd get this break. This is a great time for this break to come. And we made it through really healthy last night, and so there's some guys. Brock's going to come back to us now, and we could have played him last night, but one more break that gets him these days too. It's going to help Michael come back from the comeback. It's going to help Russell. It's going to help so many guys. So it's now that we're here, we're going to max it out, make the most of it, and I think it's great. And we'll come back roaring after it. We play Saturday, so Monday will be a big deal for us to get going again, and off we go. So. It's a mini bye is really what it feels like. But it's the same kind of day's break, though, so it's really good for the players.
Did you have to make any concessions because of the short turnaround in terms of like snaps or how much guys are going to play or what you're going to do or anything?
There were some things. That's a good question. Yeah, there really were some things going into the week and in the game itself, in the game last week as well. And so I was tuned into that with certain players.
Is that a good thing? I mean, like Richard's point was sort of the quality of the game and what you're seeing and stuff like that. Is that?
We tried to do the most we could with it to help us, and help the guys. So it worked out.
Pete, yes, the last time on you were saying how Thursday, we're glad we got to play again Thursday because of the loss, so you can just get right back at it. Conversely, is it just as good coming off a win that you get this break on?
You always want to win before the bye. Yeah, you always want to win before the bye. And it worked out. This opportunity to play Thursday night worked out great for us because we get to bounce back. We have the fun of winning the division. We know we got the break that's going to make us stronger. We really, what happened is long gone, and I'm so glad that we did it the way we did it. It had the minimal amount of effect as it could have had, and hopefully we maxed out the turnaround and the refocus and the ability to do that because you always need that as you're going forward. So.
KJ just keeps showing up for you week after week. Did you think he would be this kind of three-down back coming out of college? And could you kind of evaluate a little bit?
No, I can't tell you that I knew that he would be the pass defender. He's so long, we didn't know how he's going to fit. We always pictured him to be an outside guy, but his instincts were so good, and that he demonstrated early on, and then his knack for just understanding the passing game. He's just got great sense and savvy and instincts and all of that. He's an unusually tall guy for the position, he uses it, to his benefit and to our benefit. That's why they call him Spider-Man. He's special. And he's got some stuff that other guys can't do. And so I think it's just so cool to watch he and Bobby play together and fitting off. They both made some great plays last night, and they kind of just take turns, and it's helping us play really good defense.
Would you say this is his best season?
Yes, I would say that. I think both guys.
Is it difficult to send players in the concussion protocol to the hospital, or was this unusual last night?
I don't know how to answer that. It kind of depends on when the game is and what the circumstances are. The doctors call all of that. We have nothing to do with that, So, I'm glad they did all of they possibly could to take care of him. He obviously had some, really clear symptoms, and so they just did the max to take care of him. And it sounds like everything's worked out fine.
With special teams play, a lot of times we talk about it in terms of like how a guy is valuable to the team for a roster spot and all that. But on the flip side, how does that help guys develop what they're doing on special teams to then become, whether it's Cassius Marsh or Deshaun Shedd or whatever?
That's a good question too, because guys get a chance to express their ability and express their fit, and also show you. We can learn a lot about guys just by how they handle their assignments, their responsibilities, the opportunities to make plays, and all of that, and. It does give you a window into what you're getting into as the guy learns his position better. It's a little easier for guys to adapt in special teams for the most part than it is to become a starting position player, and it's a great process for guys to show. It's a showcase opportunity. Cassius showed us last year for the first time. Remember, he was banged up the year before, but he showed us that he was really responsible. He was an accountable guy. He was productive. He was tough. Showed great effort. We became one of our favorite special teams players last year, and look how he's just picked up from that. So it's not only shown the coaches, but it's also shown himself that he's learned how to apply his ability and to be consistent and accountable and tough and all that. And he's doing a great job. He's having a fantastic season, I think, and continued to play really well on special teams. I think he's our leading point getter on special teams right now. So he's right up there. So. Yeah, that's what happens for some guys. Curse was a great example. That's how Jermaine did it, and a bunch of guys have done it. Ched, great example. We didn't know much about a guy from Portland State, and he comes in here and shows that he's got a fit for some stuff, and then he shows you why you should extend the opportunity to him, and give him chances to do cool things, and those are great indicators. Baldwin was a really good teams player. Cam was a really good teams player. All those guys showed up early on. Earl was a good teams player where they contributed early as rooks, and it just gave you insights into what they could become.
How would you describe the chemistry, locker room chemistry of this year's team compared to
previous years? I love where we are. I have all the way back to the Carolina game. It really was halftime of the Carolina game, I think, when the character really showed, and it hasn't wavered since. It's only gotten better and stronger and clear. We just have a really good sense about these guys, and they have a good sense about one another too. So with that, we have a chance to win some games here. We got a few games left. We have a chance to keep going.
You talked about having so many veterans who have been around here for so long. What's the challenge, though, in coaching a group like this that's so unique?
These guys are on it today. Good job. You get some days off too. To be a good teacher, you got to keep the students enthused and energized, and so you have to keep them hopefully in an environment that calls for them to be engaged and all. And so that's what the challenge is to keep guys who have been through this time after time, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, and I'm still up here saying the same stuff, How can I keep it going where they are enthused, and like I said, engaged? Well, so we have to work at that, and part of that is continuing to find new creative ways to keep the same messages alive. That's part of it. Part of it is sharing the responsibility with them now to be teachers themselves and living examples of what we're all about, and feel that sense of like big brother. You got a little brother coming up and you want him to do well, so you look after him. That's a big deal, in our world now. And I also think it's important to continue to broaden the scope of where where we communicate and how we work at what's going on about being part of a team and part of a program, and in the middle of your career of your football life, so you've seen guys really do a wonderful job of extending their influence outside of football, but because of football, and that's part of it too, and that they feel a greater sense of responsibility and accountability to kind of the connection that they have with their club and their team and all that. That's all rich stuff for men as they're growing, and our guys are they're good men. They're doing good things, and they're helping people, and they're it's not just contributing money, it's the effort that they share and all that cool stuff that they do, and we have a million examples of it, and so it's all of that stuff, I think, is part of the process.
A couple of times in the first half, the Rams receivers got behind the secondary and were open for touchdowns and didn't connect. What was happening?
We got totally different situations, but we got fooled. Stevie got fooled on the one down the deep one. He just got hung up, and the guy went right through him, and he just missed it. And there's a couple of reasons why, but he just missed the opportunity. You've seen it every now and then. It happens, and when you coach the DBs, you got to subscribe to the long foul ball theory. They hit one out of the park, but it's foul. It don't mean nothing. He's got to learn from it. And that was the long foul ball right there. And they ran a route that it just kind of tricked us a little bit on the crossing route down by the goal line that never should have happened, but it did. And so the guy winds up wide open, and it was a totally different situation there.
Pete, outside of John Ryan's run, I think he averaged 1.6 yards per carry on the ground. What did you see from the run game after 4 strong performances?
That was quite a bit lower than what we've been averaging recently, like 5 yards a carry. It was really hard. We had a hard time blocking them and sustaining stuff, but that wasn't going to be the issue in this game for us. We're going to keep running it, and we needed to keep plugging away and calling it and staying with it. Bev did a great job of doing that, but we had trouble with line of scrimmage, and we an array of issues, and I'm going to give them credit. They have played really well against us for some time now, and they did it again. We just played a better game this time, and around it, and didn't rely on that factor as much as we might have in other games, and it helped us out.
Pete, when it's struggling, you're not getting the yardage you want, but you guys kept doing it. Is that because you're able to do that because you have the lead? So you're not going to have to be trying to make it up, and that's why you stay with it? Or?
In this game, it was important for us to get ahead early, and to get up and get on it, and so that we could continue to play that way. Yes, that was part of it, and I thought it was a very similar game to how they played against the Patriots. The Patriots had a very similar game in Foxborough, where they got up by a little bit and stayed up and kept the score down and just waited for their opportunities and got enough points to get a win, and that's kind of what this was. And that's in respect to them. This is a good football team, and they can cause you a lot of problems, and they really, other than the consistency at the line of scrimmage with the runs, I thought we handled it well, and we played it much better than we have in the past couple of years.
Pete, what are you learning about Marcel and the best ways to utilize him now that he's been here?
He's fun to have on a team now. He's doing a good job, and he's a great kid to add to this team. He's great in the locker room. He's got a little bit of maturity to him that kind of comes in. He's really grateful for being here, and as a guy that's been out for a while, sometimes the guys come back with just a rejuvenated spirit about playing, and to come into our environment, our locker room, he's seeing it's pretty special. So he's adding a lot. He's versatile. He's smart. He gets it, about what it takes, and applies himself really well. I think we were just lucked out getting him. And this isn't the guy we didn't know about. We've known about him for a long time. Just wish we would have got him a little earlier, but I'm really happy to have him.
You mentioned grateful to be here. He's gone his whole career without being in the playoffs. Yet Kevin Williams, his first Super Bowl after a long career a couple of years back. Do veterans like that sometimes talk to the young guys who have known nothing but postseason and
I don't know. Ask those guys. I don't know that. Otava Rubin was he was pretty jazzed up last night. His first time he's won a division, and he's been in the league for a while, and we made note of that. Of course, it's the first time for the young guys, but it's much more precious to the guys who have missed that opportunity. So. Whether they shared or not, I don't know. I pointed it out so that they kind of had to, but I don't know if they personally do that.
It's easy for fans to look at the standings and say, well, if we do this and we catch a break here, we can get the 2 seed or whatever. Do you look at the details of the standings and you talk at all with the team about that?
Only that we have 2 more games in the division, and you know, we like to own these games, you know, and knowing that all of the rest of the stuff happens as it does. We have no control over any of that. It's a great illustration of there's nothing we can do about that. You know, Detroit and Dallas, whatever, you know, it don't matter. So we need to max out this chance, this opportunity, and then we'll see what happens the next week. And then that's the only way we go. This doesn't change anything. Now, I have talked about the fact that we had the last 3 games in the division, and that the division, you know, championship was at stake, and so you know, I didn't want them to back off that because it's so real and clear, and everybody's talking about it. And we faced it up and see if I wanted to see if we could put together a nice performance with that little bit of pressure that's added, you know, or whatever. And the guys, they just put it where it's supposed to go, and we were fine about it.
How did Gary Gilliam play, and how's he sort of handle the new role, and where does that position?
He's competing. He is really charged to battle his way back, you know, and so we'll see what happens next week. You know, it's good that he got in.
Was it a plan that you were going to see him in the fourth quarter, or is that something you made on the fly?
No, it was a plan to have him available and see if, you know, the opportunity showed up, and so we threw him in there, and it was good to get him some play time.
Cam Chancellor went out for a play, or what happened there?
He just felt something. I think it might have knocked the wind out of him a little bit, but he felt something in his back that was fine. I don't know.
Do you have any update on CJ from Pro Size?
No. What day is today? Today's Friday, is that right? Monday. We'll that's when we're supposed to get some more news. Feels like a Monday, but it isn't.
Anything else?
Good.
Thank you.
See ya.